welcome to another chapter of CSS for beginners. In this tutorial, we are going to cover an interesting CSS property. So we are going to look at CSS Flexbox, and what you have on the screen is something simple that we've learned earlier. So we have this div with this class box. We have the same class. That means we are going to apply same properties and values to them. Div 1, div 2, div 3, div 4, and it has the main div. That is a class name, main. So when we talk about CSS Flex, the use of CSS Flex ensures that elements behave predictably when the page layout must accommodate different screen sizes and different display devices. For many applications, the Flexbox model provides an important role. So with the CSS Flexbox, when the screen is large or small, it was adjust to it depending on the property and value you give to it. You cannot apply a property without you declaring the display flex first. So in this tutorial, we are going to cover CSS display flex. So we have this main, and we have another divs inside. We have box 1, box 2, box 3, and box 4. So let's head on to the CSS sheet. So this is the main, gave it a background color of yellow, that, and then the box width 50 pixels, height 50 pixels, that's a square, and the background color of blue. So, and we know that divs are block elements. That's why they are all taking a line. That's why they are all taking a line. So before we start using CSS display, we have to target the main container. So we want this div to adjust to the screen size. So let's increase the screen size and see what happens. This is how it is, and when we decrease it, this is how it's looking. So increasing it or decreasing it is the same thing, but now you can apply CSS property to it to make it look nice. You can apply CSS property flex to it to make it look nice. So let's apply the CSS display property to it, and let's have a feel of this display. So we call the property display, and then flex. So display flex automatically comes with a direction. By default it has row. So when we apply this display flex to it, all the divs inside are going to be arranged in the row. That's a horizontal. So when I save this and I refresh my browser, you see they are all in a row. You can also control it. You can also change the direction. That's when you specify flex direction to row. So by default it's row, so you can make it column. So when I say column and I save it, when I refresh, it's going to be in a column form. And we have column reverse. So column reverse, that is going to be the other way around. That's the 4 going up and the 1 coming down. I save mine and I refresh. You see it has changed. Same way we have row reverse. So when I save it and I refresh, it's going to go the other way around. So flex direction, flex is really important. You are going to use it in your journey. Next, we are going to take a look at the justify contents property. The justify contents property horizontally aligns the flexible containers items when the items do not use all the available space on the main axis. That is horizontal. When they do not use the space, so flex comes with different values. The justify content property comes with different values. Now let's take a look at some of them. So you can say justify content. We have flex start. So the flex start is the default one. It's a default justify content. Items are positioned at the beginning of the flex container, items are positioned, but in this case we've given it a reverse, row reverse. That's why I say so. When we move it and we save it, we refresh, this how it's going to be like, this how it's going to be like. And then we have flex end. Flex end, so flex end is the opposite of flex start. So flex end, items are positioned at the end of the container. Now let's save it and refresh. Items are positioned at the end of the container. And also we have another property called the center. So the center, the items are positioned at the center of the container. No, CSS is easy. Let me say CSS is very easy. Save and refresh. The items are going to be at the center. There's a horizontal at the center. So just file contains what targets the horizontal, the horizontal axis. Yes, so you can say the x-axis. Yeah, it targets the x-axis. So the flex starts what, that's what at the beginning of the container, and the flex end at the end of the container, and then the center is at the beginning of the container. And we have another interesting value, that's a space between. The space between, with the space between, items are positioned with space between the lines. Items are positioned with space between the line. So you just say space between, you save it, refresh. Now you see how they are arranged. So let me increase the weight and see how they are arranged. So the items are going to be there and the spaces are going to be even. Yes, the spaces are going to be even. That's how it is. Yeah, and we have space around. The space around, items are positioned with the space before, the space before, between and after the lines. Space before, between and after the lines. So says around. Let's see, refresh. What is it? Justify contains, that's the space around. So when I increase the weight of the screen, you see the space before. This is the space before, the space between, yes, and then what, space after the line. Yeah, this, so the, sorry. So we've talked about the display as the CSS display property, that's a flex. We're taking a look at the flex direction, being it row reverse, column reverse, and we have justify content, that's what aligning items horizontally, that's in the x-axis, and can specify, it has different values. That's the flex start, that's at the beginning of the container, flex end at the end of the container. We have the center, it's being at the center of the horizontal axis. We have space around and space between. Next we are going to look at the align item. So the align item property is the opposite of the justify content, is the opposite of justify content. So justify content is horizontally, but align item is vertically. Justify content is horizontally, align item is vertically. So let's take a look at align item. So align item, we have stretch, that's the default. Yes, that's the default one. Items are stretched to fit the container. So let's use stretch, let's save and refresh. So you see how, and that's the default one, they are stretched to fit the container. Next we have the flex start, items are positioned at the top. So flex start, let's see, you are not seeing anything because of the height of the container. So let's give it a flex direction, let's give it colon, let's save and refresh. Okay, yes, so that's the flex start, and flex end is positioned at the bottom of it. So flex end, see the other side of it. We're talking about, we have the center. Yes, we have the center. And so right now let me just let me comment this one. So comment is control and your forward slash, control and your forward slash, you save. They are not going to be rendered. And let me give this height of forum and see. Let's see. Sorry. Let's see and refresh. Okay. Okay. So the next is the baseline. Yeah. So baseline items are positioned at the baseline of the container. So you can see baseline. So that the baseline of the container. So baseline. Let's see. Refresh. Baseline of container. I can see column reverse flint. So we flint about flex. That's a flex direction value. If you have column reverse, row reverse. If you're talking about justifying contents, that's the horizontal, taking the horizontal of the container, and it has value flex start, flex end. You have the center. We've taken a look, and we have space between and space around. We've also taken a look at align items. Align items, stretch, flex start, flex end, center, and now it's base. Okay, center. You see, save. So let me increase the height and let's play with it. Let's say refresh. So if you want to position, you can combine these properties and values. Yes, you can combine these properties and values. Let me move the direction from there. So you can combine these properties and values. You see right now, it's at the it's taking the vertical. So the vertical is the center of it. So you give it flex start right now. Flex start, let's save it. Refresh, you see where it is. So that's the vertical, that's the starting of it. So at the end will come down. Flex end, you see, and it will be at the bottom of it. And then we have the baseline. So baseline, you save, refresh, it's going to be at the baseline of it. And we have center. So if you want to position this div at the center of the main div, if you want to position this one at the center of the main div, you can combine two. You can combine both the vertical and the horizontal. Yes, the vertical and horizontal. So I can say justify contents center. So justify contents center is going to push this div to the center in the horizontal axis. So I save. Then it's at the horizontal axis, and then the align items to deals with the vertical. So if I give it center, it's going to be at the center of the vertical axis. So center. I save. I refresh. Now it's at the center. Same applies to the one in this div. So I can say .1. That's a class name. I can give it a display flex. Give it justify content center and align items center. I save. I refresh. The one is going to be at the center of its mother container. It's going to be at the center of its mother container. So with Flexbox, that's the flex, justify content, align items, the flex direction. These are the properties that you are going to use most. So we've taken a look at the flex, justify content, align items, yes, and then also the flex direction. And taking a look at the flex direction. Taking a look at the flex direction. CSS media queries. CSS media queries. So CSS media queries helps us to control different elements on different devices. It helps us to control different elements on different devices. So you can control this H3, how it should look like on different devices. If the width is 700 pixels, 330 pixels, 40 pixels, yes. So you can specify how it should look like on different devices. So let's look at the syntax. So this this H3 element, let's just start it so that you can see the difference very well. So let's give it a font size of 5 rem. Let's refresh. See how huge it is. Font size of 5 rem. And okay, it's okay. So the font size is 5 rem. Now this is how the syntax goes, like the media query syntax. So it starts with the @ symbol and you type media, screen, and a bracket. So within this bracket, that's where you are going to specify the weight of it, the weight of the device that you want it to change. So let's say you want a main weight. That's a main weight. If the main weight, that's the smallest weight, that's up to that weight. Yes, up to that weight. Let's give it say 480 pixels. So 480 pixels. So what it does that at this particular weight, what should happen? So I'm going to say at this particular weight, I want to change the font size of the H3. I want to change the font size of the H3. So I want the font size to be 2 rem, and then you save it. So with this, so if the main weight of your device, if the main weight of the device is 480 pixels, sorry, that means the font size of this H3 is going to be 2 rem. The font size of this H3 is going to be 2 rem. So now let's try to adjust the weight of it. So you are not going to see because this is not the main weight of it. So now let's try to reduce it and get the main weight and see. Oops. Okay. Can use 4 here. See, refresh. Okay, so the reason we're not seeing the difference is the value, the number, the size I gave it to it. So right now, so with the main weight, trying to say from 700 upwards, the color should be red and the font size should decrease. From 700 upwards, the color should be red and the font size was decrease. So if I increase it, so from 700 upwards, the color is going to be red and the font size is going to decrease. So let me increase it and see. So this is the 700 pixels. So this is the 700 pixels. Right now the font size is 2 rem and the color is red. So you can apply different things to it. You can apply different things to it. So you can also see at this point you can give it text decoration, you can change the font style, you can change a whole lot of it. So you can control it depending on the various screen. And sometimes you don't need real devices to test the responsiveness of it. So right now you can right click at an empty area in your browser and then you go to inspect. So this one will display the development work. So we have here, so what we have here is the element. So this is your HTML. This is our HTML file, and then the star HTML file, and this is the star. So this one tells us about the weight of it, the padding. So this one indicates that there is no padding, no border, no margin. There's no padding, no border, no margin. So when you click on this here, so you can see toggle device emulation. So clicking on this one, when I click on it, you see here, so you can drop down and you see various devices, different devices. So you can choose the one that you want to test your website on, or you can go to edit. When you go to edit, you can add another device to it. Yes, you can add another device to it. So you can choose to remove some and add some to your own So with this you can control the weight. So if I control it, so upon decreasing it, so I've decreased it, so you can increase it. Yes. So you can control the weight of it. You can test on different devices. So you can say SE, can select 12 Pro, the one that you prefer. And also about the media query, you can use the RAM, you can use the EM. So the one you have max weight, you can specify just the weight of it. If the weight is, so you can clear this and use this. If the weight is 700, it will still work. So I reduce it. See, it's still working. So it's still going to work. still going to work. So this all about, this is the importance or the most used properties in CSS. So we've covered a lot in this tutorial. So what we are going to do in the next tutorial is we are going to put all that we've learned together. We are going to put all that we've learned together and build a project. We are going to put all that we've learned together and build a project. And the project is is going to be very interesting. You are going to like it because you are going to put all that you've learned together. You are going to build a really responsive app. You are going to build a really responsive website. Talking about responsive website, that means it can be viewed on different devices. It can be viewed on different devices. This is the end of the tutorial for this chapter. We've covered CSS Flex and Media Query. CSS Flex and Media Query.